Today's book review is The E-Myth Revisited. Now, a lot of you might know this book. It's been around for quite a while, The E-Myth, and this is the revised version, The E-Myth Revisited. I just finished it recently, and I absolutely loved it. If you work in a small business or have created a small business or are thinking about creating a small business, this book is an absolute must read. It's not very long. It won't take you very long to read it. It's a couple hundred pages, but I highly recommend it. What I loved about this book is how it breaks down the roles of a small company into three different people. The entrepreneur is the person that thinks about the vision of the company, where the company is going, why it's being created, why make this company. The manager is managing the process of the company, how the work gets done, managing the people. And then the technician is a name given to the person that's actually the people actually doing the work, making the widgets, making sales calls, whatever it is. Now, this book is written, I think, really from the technician's point of view, because that's how a lot of small companies are created. Someone's doing the actual work and they say, well, why am I working for this other company? I can make my own company and do this work for myself, be my own boss. And so this book helps break that down and say, yes, you could definitely do that, but there's all these other pieces to creating a small business. You have to understand those different roles and responsibilities and how they interrelate. And I think this book does an absolutely great job of breaking down those different roles and responsibilities. Now, what was interesting for me is that I'm very much the entrepreneur. That's who I related to in this book. And so it was really cool to see myself in that role and how to relate to managing processes and the technicians doing the actual work and how that all plays out. And what I love is that when you normally start a small business, of course, you might be one person or a couple of partners and you're doing all the work, okay? And so this book helps you understand, even though you're doing all the work from creating the business and making the sales and doing the widgets and managing the processes and understanding where your company is going and how it's going to be built, this breaks down those different things and helps you focus on just one thing at a time and how they relate, and especially how to think about growing your business, the growth of that business, the roles and responsibilities, and how to successfully grow your business. It takes a really kind of a franchise model where you're trying to create the first business in a franchise so you could turnkey it to somebody else and say, here's the business, here's the processes, here's the people and the roles and responsibilities and how it works, and it all works really smoothly. That's what I loved about this, is able to do that in just a couple hundred pages. Now, a couple downsides to the book. There's a lot of verbiage, making up names like the technician, the entrepreneur. There's a lot of that kind of throughout the book. Michael Gerber does a great job with breaking down all that stuff, but also coming up with his own little names and stuff, because he's got a whole website around this and business around this, which is awesome. And so there's definitely a lot of that in here. The other thing I didn't quite like was there's an example throughout the book. So he tells you all about these things and then has sort of an example of a sample business where he's talking to someone who's creating a business, going through this process of understanding all the different roles and responsibilities. I found those kind of real world explanation running throughout the book to be a little bit extra. I didn't learn a lot from that. I could pick it up really just straight from the text and didn't need those extra pages of pretend sample business. But otherwise, this book is fantastic. It's a quick read. It's great. Again, if you work anything around small business, I really think that this is a must read, especially when you're creating that business. So I'm going to put this on my shelf and probably read it every year. It's that type of book for me that it's year in, year out, reread it, check in, get the concepts again. So if you're working in a small business or own a small business or even thinking about creating a small business, I highly recommend that you check out this book. Any questions, comments, thoughts, please leave me a message. I love to hear from you. Have an awesome day.